Is there any questions that I can answer for anybody?
Where's that park going to be?
This park is going to be, you know where the old Frank's Steakhouse used to be? Where the city has already cut a stream through there. There was already, you know, an intake and an outtake to it. Basically, that 6 acre tract is going to be utilized by, that's what's going to alleviate our flooding. That is a low point in the city. It makes sense to put a retention lake right there.
Will you have to pump to get the water up there?
The water is already there. The intakes for it are already in place. So that water, and I know there were some Clarksville people that were told that Mike Moore is going to flood Clarksville. That's absolutely not true. And I called somebody from the town hall yesterday and tried to reassure them, no, actually what this is going to do, when we're finished with this project, we're actually reducing the water that's going into Cane Run over in Clarksville by up to 1/3 of the amount of water that you're seeing there now. So if you live in Clarksville, I'm not the big bad guy. I'm actually going to be the guy that's going to save putting a lot of water over there on you. But
Mayor, could you answer this question in front of the podium for us so the media can actually
I'm sorry?
hear your comments? Can you answer this next question in front of the podium for us so that we can actually hear your comments on the camera?
Sorry.
Could you speak more about this new CSO plan, how much it's going to cost, and really what will it do to address the EPA's mandate?
Well, the project itself, which whether I'm standing here or the previous administration was standing here, that project is $30.8 million. So you had a $69 million canal, and you had a $30.8 million project to fix what the EPA is expecting of us. So I don't see any need to put money out there for a $69.7 million canal. I mean, in essence, we just saw a tax savings of $69.7 million.
What will this new plan do? How will it, I guess, alleviate the CSOs?
Well,
It's not a new plan, it's in the existing plan, we're just changing the implementation schedule to move the CSO controls up further than there was in the proposal with the EPA.
Can you summarize again then what this existing 30.8 million plan
It is
is?
going to put an intercept.
Could you come to the
Come on
podium?
up here.
And state your name, sir.
I'm Len Ashak. I'm the director of the wastewater department, and I work for the city of Jeffersonville Sewer Board. The original long-term control plan had 2 phases. The first phase was a conveyance system for stormwater with sewer separation, and the other phase was an interceptor along Market Street and one that goes from Market Street to Mulberry to get it to the 10th Street pump station. And this is the project the mayor is talking about. This is the canal, okay? And there's an implementation schedule that goes along with that. We're moving this part of it up front, and this part of it is going to be studied some more through a number of different programs. EPA, if you saw the approval letter from the long-term control plan that EPA and IDEM both signed, they said you committed, the city of Jeffersonville proposed a plan that would reduce the number of CSOs to the Ohio River in a typical year to 1 and to Cane Run to 3. That's what they wanted to see from the city of Jeffersonville. That's what's going to get us to the level of control we guarantee the EPA we're going to get to. If in fact we do what we say we're going to do, build these sewers for these sizes, and it doesn't get this to that level of control, then we go to phase 2. In phase 2, anyway, so it's in the plan. It's not a new plan, it's in the plan. We're just changing the implementation schedule to move it up so we could actually get the level of control in place to get EPA and the federal government satisfied so they can leave the city of Jeffersonville alone. Because frankly, I'm tired of dealing with those people.
Do you feel like the early phases of that plan are going to provide the level of control that you would need in order to meet the CSO requirements?
If we design it and build it the way we believe it needs to be built, yes. That's the whole basis for the level of control. Because if we build a canal that goes from Market Street to 9th Street, It doesn't do anything for the CSOs on the Ohio River. There are 7 CSOs in the city of Jeffersonville. 6 of them are on the Ohio River. So, and the last one is Cane Run. EPA is concerned with the Ohio River because it is the interstate water body. It goes from Pittsburgh to Cairo, Illinois. If you look at the big cities on the Ohio River, every one of them, for the most part, that have CSOs, have an federal enforcement action against them. Jeffersonville's across from Louisville, they got a CSO, they got a consent decree. Evansville's got a consent decree. Cincinnati's got a consent decree. Across from Cincinnati has a consent decree. St. Louis has a consent decree. That's where EPA is concentrated its efforts. So if we improve our CSO, we don't have the number of CSO events we have in the past, EPA is going to be happy with the city of Jeffersonville. So that's why we're moving it up. It's not to say we're not going to do these things. Let's do this. We're spending $67 million on projects, folks. And it doesn't include any of the, we have $67 million worth of projects on the board right now. We're building a 10th Street pump station for those of you who go out that way to the interstate. That's going to go from 15 million to 50 million gallons. We're building a treatment plant expansion here to handle that 50 million gallons. And we're also building a new outfall sewer that goes to Mill Creek to offload Cane Run. So the only thing going to Cane Run, and maybe in a typical year, will overflow 3 times, as opposed to every time it rains. Because every time it rains a quarter inch, we overflow. Not so much at Cane Run, but a lot on the Ohio River. So I hope that answers your question.
Mayor, you talk about there's existing funding already in place. Where exactly is that?
I think it was in 2009, the city council put in place 3 more sewer rate increases over the next 3 years to address these issues. So, you know, I'm saying let's utilize that money to fix what the EPA is demanding of us now, because the previous plan was to use that money in place of, you know, meeting the EPA demands, but to build the canal. In essence, you could have built the canal and the EPA would have still been breathing down your throat saying, hey, you haven't met our compliance yet. You know, you got to do it. So the funding is there in place. The funding is not there in place for the canal. And I think Umball did some research for the previous administration on how to pay for the $69.7 million canal, and they came back with more sewer rate increases, possibly a new drainage fee, some more taxes created, and a restaurant and beverage tax to be added. So, you know, I'm a small business owner by trade. I know how hard it is to succeed, you know, not only as an existing business, but if we want to attract new businesses and new families to Jeff, we've got to find ways to do things in a less expensive manner, because we are competing with every other city and town in this area. I want their business. Good luck to New Albany and Clarksville and Charlestown, but doggone it, I'm going to do everything I can to bring them to Jeffersonville. And I think by lowering taxes is the best way to utilize what we can do as a city to improve our growth. So
if the first phase doesn't work, if we have to move on to other options, are we going to have to look at other places for funding?
I fully expect this to work. I mean, that's why, you know, I'm not an expert. I brought experts in.
Well,
And
it seemed like there were a lot of, you know, if it's done right, if it's, you know, that leaves some margin for error.
You know, on November 8th, people in Jeffersonville voted for a new direction. And I've got one of the firms that's up here with me is one of the firms that did a lot of work with the city of Jeff. I've also got United from Indianapolis here. I didn't approach them and say, hey, I want you to come up with something that makes me look good. I said, I want you to come up with something that's going to meet the EPA demands, but do it in a way that we can afford. So, you know, the EPA does have tough standards. These guys have dealt with the EPA many, many times. I'm confident that our approach right here is going to make the EPA satisfied.